Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to the Scene Snob Interviews with your host, Mick Manhattan. Please like and subscribe to our channel and follow us at the Scene Snob.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Scene Snob Interviews. I am, of course, Mick Manhattan, Scene Snob. Thank you for joining us again. And I have a very special guest today, Mr. Christopher Soren Kelly, writer, director, and one of the stars of the movie The Tangle. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I'm very excited about talking about this because it is a very different type of movie. The look, the feel, the whole nine. And it's your first feature film that you've written and directed, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Well, there's one that's sort of a decade ago that nobody's seen or heard of. So I'm not. No. Yeah. It's the only one. It's the first one I put out there. Yep.
That is awesome. So what now? How long did it take for you to write the script? How far does it go back?
The script itself didn't take me. The project's been about 5 years now. The script itself didn't take very long, and in fact, production began only about 6 months after I wrote the script. So,
wow.
It was a plan. That year we had made a few short films that had done well on the festival circuit, and we just decided it was time to make a feature because it's hard to make a short. If you make a short right, I shouldn't say that, but for us, it was taking a couple years to make a short right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it was like, if we're going to put that much effort in, we might as well make a feature. So I was actually writing another script to shoot a feature that year, but the budget was sort of creeping up in the script. And I was like, I'm not sure we can raise this money. So I shifted gears and I wrote this script relatively quickly. And we started shooting about 6 months later.
That's awesome. And this is a very ambitious, when you go back to the beginning and you finally, after seeing the movie, and I think about it as like, this had to be an ambitious script to write because like there's so much going on and it's a very intricate plot. And you weave a tale and the way you made it look was beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, that's Robert Muratori, my DP, and Eric Thorne, who did production design and costumes, Annie, who did costumes, and all of that. That all went into that. And also just the beauty of around Los Angeles and some of Colorado, really adds to it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The script itself, it's a strange thing. I know the script is dense, and I know it's unique, and it seems like it would be really hard to write. But what I decided to do when I had to switch gears and write a different script, I wrote something that was actually fairly easy for me to write, meaning I wrote just like what was right in my wheelhouse. And if you write what's right in your wheelhouse, it'll usually seem kind of weird to other people because it's you know what I mean? But when you do that, it's also relatively easy for you. So I always have liked poetic language. I've always liked noir language. I've been reading sci-fi since I was a preteen, so the world of science fiction is really easy for me to like piece that together. So the script was actually the easiest part of this whole project for me. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one of the most beautiful things about the movie is I love film noirs. I love the look of like 1940s films. And you hit the nail on the head with this one. In those scenes, and then you get very futuristic in your look in other scenes. So, when you said writing in your wheelhouse, made it easier, but like the concept of kind of mixing these different things that you really like, in terms of film, was that when it came to shooting, did you have like a clear, concise vision, or how was that to convey?
Yeah, so I'm really happy with the film. I know it's a weird film. I think you sort of introduced it that way, and some of my favorite reviews that we've gotten, have been this is like a film unlike any other, and that's not going to be for everybody, but it's so hard to make a film. You might as well make one that's not like anybody else's, So, it came out. Of course, it's not exactly you. when you make art, you sort of have a vague idea and it's like a sense of where you want to go. And of course it turns out to be completely different. But if you sort of stay true to that sense, then it feels like the movie I was trying to make. So, and all those people came along to help, but this did have the feel that I was looking for from the beginning. And, there was a lot of happy accidents to give certain things the particular look they have, but we always intended to do this high contrast noir kind of visual style. There was always this idea that we were going to be in this futuristic world, but there would be these characters that were anachronistic, essentially, because they couldn't take part in the futuristic world because they had to watch it. And so we would pull them back and give them a sort of period look. And all of that was like, this is a way of giving it its own unique style. Also, the high contrast look is actually a little easier to light because you can just, like, for instance, a bunch of those first 15, 20 pages are just lit by this light over a table, right? And I think it looks gorgeous, but it's super simple, right? Super easy to do. And you could pre-light it and you don't have to move the lights around to change who you're shooting and everything. So it really made it a lot easier to shoot. And we were shooting with a very limited budget. So these were considerations from the beginning.
Oh, that's awesome. And so now getting in, how involved are you with setting up the shots? I know being in the film, I mean, it had to kind of pull you in so many ways, especially directing the other actors. Did you leave it more to your DP or help kind of focus on?
No. Yeah, that was, he and I definitely would get together and in the morning. And I mean, I had some shots from the beginning that I had always planned. A bunch of the first 15 pages were pretty much planned out how I wanted them. But then he and I get together in the morning beforehand and just make sure we were on the same page about how we wanted to cover everything. And he definitely had a lot of input, and he's an incredible DP. But yeah, no, I always shot listed it, at least in the morning. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. So stepping in and doing, this sort of being, such and again, I wouldn't even call it weird. I would call it definitely unique and something people should see. For sure.
Weird is a compliment for me. So yeah, unique is good too. Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, I do like the weird. So, yeah. I mean, I'm all for it, but this is definitely one that I love original concepts like that. Like, what you do and you take, how you kind of portray the internet in it and like how it grew into what it was and just have that storyline and then what happens to humanity. I don't want to give anything away, of course. I want people to go see it and enjoy it. For you,
that's fair. People can know it's about The Tangle is like the future of the internet, and the internet's gone into the air and it's everywhere. And you have a hard drive in your brain that connects you to it, and that allows you to know anything instantly. But it also inhibits you from hurting yourself or from being violent to anybody else. And so that's the world that the whole thing takes place within.
Yeah, and the thing I liked about that is because I'm a big fan of the movie Minority Report.
Yeah, it's got some flavor of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely saw that. But I like your concept too. It also I don't know if I'm stretching here, but like it kind of felt there was hints of Dark City in it.
Oh, beautiful! Yeah, I love that. Yeah. I wasn't specifically thinking of it, but I love Dark City, and there is a flavor of that. Absolutely.
And I love that because it's almost a subgenre within itself, like these stylistic sci-fi films that kind of call back to like the old noir and the old, mysteries movies back in the day. And that's what I really dug about it. And that, those stand out to me, the Blade Runners, things like that. So for you, when you're getting into it and you start filming, now you're acting, how is the pressure of that, being a director and having a star in, and it's essentially, all on you, having written it too.
Yeah. I mean, I won't say it's not stressful. It is stressful. I found I've been in the movie industry for a while, a lot of it as an actor, but I feel like there's really two types of this is if you want to be simplistic. There's two types of film directors: those that love being on set and those that hate being on set. And it's just I just like everything. The people who hate it really want to get into the edit, and like start working with the material that they've captured. And the ones that love it are like, I'm making a movie, And I definitely lean more towards the love being on set. It definitely was. I would have loved it more if I wasn't the producer as well, and it wasn't my own AD, and I wasn't, and probably if I wasn't acting as well. So it was stressful, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. And I feel like most people on the set enjoyed it. We had a good time. Of course, there were tough days. But, for me, I wrote a role. When I wrote the script, I knew what I was doing. I'm like, I've been in a number of these films. Like, I need to make a movie that we can make with this budget, but I want to make it unique. I want to give it some special flavor. So I need to do some stuff that we can do, but that won't, will seem different. I need to write myself a role that I can do relatively easily. That's in my wheelhouse. So this language is easy for me because I wrote it and it's like my rhythm. And, I'm for a lot of the movie, there's a couple moments where it changes, but a lot of the movie, I'm doing a similar thing in that character. He's sort of an interrogator. And so that's pretty easy for me. So I wrote something that was relatively easy for me to do. Josh, who plays, is Carter, who in some sense is the main character. He was my acting coach for years. So I had support there in terms of if my acting was like going off the rails, somebody could be like, hey, we'll try this,
That's awesome.
So we built it to be doable, right?
And I love that. I love it because that's a great inspiration to a lot of people who want to do something more stylistic or sci-fi. A lot of filmmakers coming up and starting out, they a lot of that they might be turned off to, but like movies like this, which are independent features, I think are inspirational in a lot of ways for people.
I hope so. I've been inspired, like you mentioned, Dark City and movies like that, Primer. I'm inspired by these independent films that are able to tell a unique science fiction story, even though they don't have a massive budget.
Yeah,
and it's becoming more and more doable just because the technology is getting more and more available. So.
Well, for you, with doing a sci-fi movie, and you're a veteran actor, you've been around for a while, and you've acted in different genres, both in TV and movies. What are some? I'm guessing that you are attracted, like you said earlier, to science fiction. But is that something that you really want to stick with, like you said, is in your wheelhouse, or is that just kind of tip of the iceberg?
As a writer-director, science fiction is maybe too narrow, but I almost always write something that has like a fantastic element a little bit. So for instance, one of my short films is about a man who's hunting the devil and meets the devil's lawyer at a crossroads. And so it's not science fiction really, but it's like fantastic a little bit. There's always a twist of some sort in my things, So that I think will be consistent throughout whatever I do. But it won't always be strict science fiction. Yeah.
What are some of your inspirations when you're writing? I know a lot of writers I've talked to, it may be movies, it may be music, it may be taking walks on, film locations, things like that. So like, what were some of your inspirations while writing?
So first I'll just say, I think everybody is a little different, and they all have the things that is easy for them and things that are hard for them. And in writing, I don't need a lot of inspiration. Like I just have 10 ideas a day. So my problem is like choosing and then focusing and then like finishing the idea I have. So of course I'm inspired by things all the time, but I never need to do something to get inspired. It just is sort of, that's happening all the time for me. It's other things that other people might find easier that is more of a challenge for me. Yeah. So.
Nice. That's awesome. Coming in and you had a pretty big cast in this for the most part. I mean, I think it was about 10.
Total cast was 7. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, miscounted. But
7 or 8, maybe.
How was it working with everybody? Again, as a director and starring alongside, and again, it's a very stylistic. Especially with the way everyone speaks. How was it working with everybody and kind of getting everybody on the same page?
Yeah, that was really fun. And, it's a very challenging script dialogue wise for it's people are talking in their own, it's a kind of a language, a lingo for this sci-fi period kind of thing. So that was challenging. And we did a lot of rehearsal beforehand, which you don't always do in film, but we knew we'd be shooting fast and we knew that the language was difficult. So we wanted to really rehearse it. And I really wanted a particular rhythm to the dialogue. So we needed to get on the same page for that. But Jessica Graham, who I think you're talking to later, is my partner, and we've worked together many times. And Josh, as I said, we've also worked together. I wrote those roles with them in mind. And then Nicole Da Silva is a professional, is a veteran actor. Many might know her from Wentworth here in the States. In Australia, if you're listening, she's on Doctor. She's got a big following, and she just fit right into that Francesca role. So
Nice.
It was enjoyable. We had to move fast, so it wasn't as much on set. There wasn't as much working with actors as I probably would like in a normal circumstance. But we did have a fair amount of rehearsal beforehand, and I'm really happy with the acting, and I think they do an amazing job.
Oh, you should be. I mean, you definitely made a great film here, and it's one that I really want to plug and like have everybody. So everybody, you should check out The Tangle. It's a very awesome sci-fi film, very unique. We'll even say weird because it is a great word.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
What's? I
mean, you have to say Dark City's weird, right? Dark City's a weird movie.
Dark City, but that's the thing. I think we're on the same page with what weird is. Like, those weird, like weird is good. Like that's the stuff that stands out. Like there's no better way to put it. Yeah. And it's so something like Dark City is something that I almost feel it is the Scene Snob, so I'll just sound like a snob. It's fine. True film fans really get what it is and appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, I just want films that have their own point of view, and Dark City absolutely does.
Yeah. Oh, for
it's
sure.
hard when you're making low budget films, and I go to a lot of film festivals. And this is something I recommend to you as a filmmaker. Think about this: you go to film festivals and you see a bunch of low budget films trying to do exactly what the big budget films are doing, and it's just like a copy of the big budget film, but at a low budget level. And so you're missing the money, and you're just getting the same story. So it's hard. It's much harder than to like really have your own unique vision and make it. And then people will be like, okay, it's a little low budget here or there or whatever. If it looks like it, but they will at least be getting a new story or something,
You know what? That's so well put. And a lot of times, like when I'm speaking to student filmmakers and things like that, I will say to them, I was like, you might always know what the Marvel movies are, and I'm not putting them down. I enjoy them. Right. You might always know what they are, but you're always going to know who Michelle Gondry is.
Right.
Because that's the fingerprint that just stands out, and that's what you want.
And again, there's no, like you said, there's nothing wrong with the Marvel movies, and there's nothing wrong with like movies as commerce. But movie as art is a different thing. That's film, and that's like you have to put your stamp on it.
So going forward, what's next for you? Like, are you jumping into your next project to write and direct? Where do you go from there?
Yeah. And I do have a bunch of, I am always got a bunch of things working, but right now I'm really excited I finished a draft of a feature script. The last few months finishing up The Tangle have sort of put it on the back burner, but as we finish this promotional period, I'll start getting back to it. And I'm very excited about it. I haven't really figured out how to pitch it yet. I will, but it's a meditation thriller. That's how I'll put it right now. So okay. I teach a meditation. I've spent years in like going to like silent retreats where you spend 10 days silent, and it's a pretty intense experience. And I haven't really seen it put up on film. So this is a sci-fi film about a woman who does a meditation science study, and a man who has developed scientist who has developed a technology which like speeds up your meditation practice so that you're having like bigger and deeper experiences more quickly. And it's a thriller, and there's some sci-fi twists in it as well.
I love it. I can't wait to see that.
I'm really excited about it.
So for that, like when you're saying with meditation, I'm very intrigued by that.
Cool.
Is that a big help? That's been a big help for you, of course, going through, like being able to, do you take time on set to like maybe reserve yourself and go and meditate for a while?
Did we do that? Jessica always does that on her sets. I don't think I made anyone take that time, but it's something that's just, automatic for me at this point. Yeah. Just sort of an automatic, just being aware and not letting things build on top of each other. You just feel, I got freaked out a little bit, and then you just let that go, and then you go on to the next thing. And that, there's no doubt it's a big help on set. In any kind of pressured situation. Absolutely.
I love that. That's fantastic. And I think that of course, it's really going to help everybody. Because if you're calm and everybody else is calm and the meditation's helping, like even if they're not doing it, it's going to be a calm set, of course. So. Yeah,
I hope so. And like I said, we're making movies. We should be having fun. It's hard, but we should be having fun. So we try to have a set where people can feel, people, this is their profession, especially if you're in the technical departments, is a job, but we can still have a good time at it.
I've often said filmmaking is the one thing I can't wait to get out at the end of the night, but I can't wait to get back to the next day.
It's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just always fun. But of course, all filmmakers are also film fans. And I wanted to ask, as we're kind of getting towards the end, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about some of your favorite movies that are inspirations to you that you watch over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, obviously Blade Runner is probably the most obvious inspiration for this movie, but is a genuine inspiration. I love that movie so much. I love all the versions, honestly. So I've watched that one a billion times. What's coming to mind right now? I love so many films. It's hard to, when I really think about what makes my heart just go woo, it's like Tarkovsky, those films those are the kinds of things that just blows your mind. It's like, how did they do this kind of thing? I'm a big Tarantino fan. I actually think, and not a lot of people have mentioned this, but actually Reservoir Dogs is a bit of an inspiration for this film. Just the structure of it, the interrogation stuff going on, and that kind of everybody in a warehouse kind of thing.
That's awesome.
I love Tarantino, and I think the thing about Tarantino is I personally think he's gotten. I feel like his last 3 films are his best 3 films. I feel like he's gotten better and better. I mean, Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs are sort of iconic, so that you can't really compare. But I felt like I loved his last film. I thought it was so good.
Oh, I agree. As films, he has definitely stepped up story-wise, everything, just look the whole night.
So good. The thing I always wanted from him, and I really felt like I got it in the last film, was there was always a distance between him and the characters. I never felt like we needed to love the character, love them, care about them to enjoy his films. You could find them entertaining or all sorts of things, but you weren't necessarily emotionally moved by the characters. Mm-hmm. But this last one felt more personal to me. It felt like it was more about his actual personal life, the people he cares about, actors and movies. And I felt like it was really a really powerful film. I really loved it.
Oh yeah, it was one of my favorites that year. It's just truly fantastic. But Chris, I appreciate talking to you. Mind if I call you Chris? Of
course. Yeah.
I appreciate talking to you. The Tangle was such a great movie, and I really think everybody should check it out. For sure. And are you still taking it through the festivals? I know festivals were kind of screwed up last year.
No, we did the festival circuit. Honestly, we just finished up the festival circuit more or less right when the pandemic hit. Mm-hmm. So the pandemic sort of slowed our distribution process, but we had a nice long festival run. Yeah,
nice. Okay, great. Yeah. All right, so I'm glad it didn't screw it up for you. A lot of people it hit, but it's good that indie films. I really feel like were the bread and butter of 2020 in terms of helping keep people entertained.
Right.
And movie theaters that were open. We had the Alamo Drafthouse here in Winchester, Virginia, that was open. It was the first one open, first theater open throughout the country.
So do you go to Genre Blast?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Tangle went to. I think we went to Genre Blast with this film. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I know Genre. Yeah, and
I went out. Yeah, I went out there. I know I went to Genre Blast. I was trying to remember which film. I'm pretty sure it was this one.
All right. Well, you've seen. Yeah. So Winchester was the one that kind of wrote the Alamo wrote the how-to guide on the open up during COVID.
Cool.
The safety guidelines. So, but they've been showing older films, but I think it's the independent films that people still get to see something new. And right. I think Tangle right now. Where is Tangle available? Because I saw it as a screener.
It's on Amazon now, so it's premiered on Friday on Amazon, and you can rent or buy it right now. And I think it will go up on Google Play in a little bit.
Oh, perfect! And I'll make sure to put that out so everybody can see it on our Scene Snobs social media.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, films like this, we really depend on word of mouth and reviews. If you like it, give it an Amazon review and share it with your friends. Give it an IMDb rating. Those things really, really help films like this. We can't count on a big advertising budget.
That's fine. I absolutely will do that. That's fantastic. And I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. And do you have anything else that you want to plug right now that you got going on, or?
No, I'm good. I appreciate this. Yeah, it was really fun talking to you, and I appreciate it. We'll talk again.
All right, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Anytime you have something to promote, you let me know.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Well, everybody, make sure you go check out The Tangle. This has been Christopher Soren Kelly, director, writer, and one of the stars of the film. It's available now on Amazon, so make sure you go. And like you said, it's important to rate. It's important to review. Go to IMDb, do it on Amazon, and please help out because indie films, this is their bread and butter. This is how they need it. All right. Until next time, I'm Mick Manhattan, and take care. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Scene Snob Interviews. I am Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob, and I'm joined today by a very special guest, Jessica Graham, actress in the new film, The Tangle. She plays Laurel, which is a very stylistic sci-fi movie that's out right now. You can check it out on Amazon, and I got to tell you, it's fantastic, so make sure you go do that. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and thanks for liking the film. We appreciate that.
Oh, 100%. I was kind of gushing over it a little bit. I was talking to Christopher earlier, the director, and I got to tell you, this is kind of where my wheelhouse of, we were calling it weird because we love that word, but also it's just unique. And like I said, stylistic. You guys really did such a fantastic job with this movie. And your characters were all just terrific. Now, when you stepped into this, I know you've worked with Chris a lot. How was it for you? You're a producer on the film. You wore many hats on this, but you're also one of the main stars. Like, how was it for you stepping into this and this different world that he wrote?
Yeah, I mean, that's like a multi-pronged answer. I think one thing I can say is that I probably cried after the first several rehearsals. I mean, I did, because it was really challenging material. And, I'm all about a challenge. And, but when you add on also producing and then being directed by your partner, acting opposite your acting coach, like there was sort of a lot of pressure. Like Josh was my coach for many years. Chris was my partner. And so there was a lot of feelings of like really wanting to be able to do my best. And I feel really proud of it, but it was challenging to step into. It was also really fun and really exciting getting to watch Chris like create the script and then together, turning our condo into a workshop where we were like developing and designing certain aspects of the wardrobe and the props and things like that we then got amazing help from our creative team on. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
Well, and yet you played such a great character in the film. When the character of Laurel and how much you have intensity you have in the film overall, like, because it's such a like. The dialogue is very different from what most people will probably get. And, I want to say normal everyday movies, but that's why this is weird and unique. It's why it stands out. So for you coming into this as an actor, how did you prepare? Like, this is a whole different world, but it's also got nuances from different eras. Like for you, how did you prepare for Laurel?
Well, I did work with a coach. I did, I think, maybe 4 or 5 sessions with an acting coach just to really make sure that I didn't get lost in like the language or the idea of the character, that I was really bringing a real human to life. And so that was a really important aspect of it, to really find Laurel, to really find what truly mattered to her, what she was trying to do in each moment, and really connect to the heart of the woman. And in addition to that, for me, wardrobe and shoes are a really important part of things. And so as I started to explore Laurel's wardrobe, we were so lucky to get to borrow some pieces from a woman named Agatha French, who just kind of swooped in like an angel and brought in some really amazing pieces. So as I was in the process of like, along with Chris, deciding on wardrobe, that started to help me really find the character as well, because what you wear it says a lot about you. And so as I started to discover those pieces, and then I'm all about shoes with characters. And I actually did something kind of ridiculous on this film, which was on our first day of shooting, we shot like 17 pages, which is ridiculous. Like on a big budget film, you shoot maybe 2.5. On like a normal indie film, you shoot like 5 to 7. We were shooting like we shot 17. So it was a long day. And I was wearing these like high heels, you know, you see them in the film. And for whatever reason, I just thought, oh, I need to wear the shoes all day because Laurel would wear them all day. And I'm not just acting. I'm like running around dealing with other stuff too because I'm producing. And by the end of the day, my feet hurt so bad. And seriously, my heels were numb for like a year. And I'm not exaggerating. And so after that, I only had the shoes on when the shoes were going to be seen. And I was like, I can deal with the fact that Laurel's not in her high heels with every scene.
Yeah. It's so funny to me, not even funny, like it makes so much sense that like, you know, it is important how much wardrobe plays a part, and especially shoes. I mean, look at some of the greatest movies of all time, Shawshank Redemption, Usual Suspects. Like, the shoes played a part.
They play a part. Yeah, it's so true.
So, you know, that's great that you said that. And it's important, too, because especially with The Tangle and just how it's a callback, again, to like a noir type of setting, and that the styles that you're wearing in it are again a nuance but it's also a futuristic sci-fi tale, so you have to play back and forth. But I like how, especially Laurel's character, the way your hair was, the dress, like it was very proper, very well done. Did you have a lot in terms of like the costuming and such, and say, like, I know you said with the shoes how important it was to you, but in all aspects of like design and of the makeup and such too?
I definitely had a say. Chris had a pretty clear vision. And then our amazing hair and makeup artist, Crystal Nardico, she's like a miracle worker. She came up with just such an amazing look for Laurel. It was not an easy look, though. The makeup took a long time, actually. And I would need to be on set before anyone else. And so Crystal and I would show up like an hour before anyone else because my makeup took so long and there was only one of her and she needed to like work with everyone. So she was amazing. But yeah, her and Crystal and Chris really worked together to decide what was the perfect makeup look. I definitely had a say. I was definitely involved in the decision. But it was absolutely a collaboration. Yeah.
Well, so with your, the action of the film and like the, just the tale, overall, I don't try not to give too much away. I want people to see it for themselves. It's interrogation for the most part that's going on in the film that really drives what's going on. How did you prepare for that? Getting into that sort of like that interrogation aspect.
Yeah, well, I mean, the language does so much, right? I think it's beautifully written, and it's written with a certain kind of musicality. And so you kind of just got on for the ride, At first, it was challenging to really know how to bring to life exactly the music Chris was hearing. But once I got it, once it was in me, then it just sort of, it flowed and you were just like on the ride. And so the interrogation scene is very much written, or scenes, it's a lot of interrogation, are the words are written to be said. And so they just sort of flow. As far as like the sort of emotional layers, there's a couple of different layers going on for Laurel, and then my own layers that I added in that aren't in the script. And so I would say that a lot of prep, right? Like a huge amount of prep, like practicing the tennis swing over and over and over and over and over again. And then you're on the court. I'm not a tennis player, I'm just imagining, but you're on the court and your body just knows what to do. And that's how this film felt. It was very much like practice, 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 and then go free. And so it feels, it felt very kind of free and easy at the time, but it took a lot of work for it to arrive at that point.
Yeah. Well, so I can't imagine it took a long time, just with rehearsals and such, just how much, like you said, like with the musical aspect of it, it's so different. And I love the concept of how it all comes to be, like how the story evolves from the internet into what The Tangle is. Now, coming into a sci-fi, is this your first sci-fi film, or have you done more in the past?
This is my first sci-fi film. Yeah, I've done some horror. We made a short film called Monkeys, and a which I was in, which isn't exactly sci-fi, but it can sort of start to live in that realm. But yeah, this is my first actual sci-fi, but I've loved sci-fi since I was little. My dad was a big fan of sci-fi, and when I was like 3, I used to pretend to be Luke Skywalker. And, yeah, and then I had a serious crush on Spock when I was like, a little kid and a young, adolescent. And yeah, we had all of the Star Trek on VHS. My dad had taped it off of the television, so we had all of the Star Trek, and we would just like pop one in, and then, Star Wars, Aliens. I remember watching Alien for the first time. I was pretty young too. I was like probably too little to be watching it, but it was like my dad just wanted me to see it. It was a great sci-fi film. So, and it's interesting because I've always loved sci-fi, but I didn't realize how much I loved sci-fi and how it was probably actually my favorite genre until me and Chris started working on this. Then I was like, oh, actually, I've loved this forever. I didn't read all the sci-fi books. I'm actually reading them now, as an adult. But I always loved it. I always loved the genre. So I feel like I kind of returned home with this film in a way.
That's so awesome. And, being able to do that and connect with it in that way and bring it like from your childhood and to do it for your first sci-fi film.
Yeah.
Is very important. Actually to ask, you said, having done so many different genres and now getting into sci-fi, what are some that you really like to revisit? Like, you said horror, you've done drama, thriller.
So I just actually did a project last year, which is coming out now, first as an episodic, and then they're actually creating it into a feature as well. So it's going to have multiple releases, but it's called The Hunter. And it was created by a filmmaker named Alexander P. Gutterman. And it's going to have a very niche audience. It's incredibly, his favorite filmmaker is Tarkovsky. So it's like, I love it, but it's going to have a very specific audience, and that audience is going to love it as well. But with that film, that was probably one of my favorite experiences ever acting in a certain way. And the reason is because it was so natural. There actually was yes, there was a character, yes, there was preparation, but it was really like, I'm not at all comparing myself to this, but I just watched Nomad's Land, and how natural Frances McDormand, she's just that actually really excites me. Like cinema verite type projects really excites me. One of my other favorites was, I guess it was kind of sci-fi. It was a pilot. It was a Western. Yeah, it was a Western sci-fi. And I played this sort of genderless demon. And it was so fun. It was so fun. My wardrobe was so fun. The weird physicality of this character was so fun. And I loved that. So I really like playing strange and evil characters.
Nice.
Or very, very just human. I'm just here, barely any makeup, just here's this human being. So I think I prefer those two ends of the spectrum.
That's interesting. I really like that. Now, working in movies and, playing all these different characters and you said with sci-fi, it goes back to Star Trek and other sci-fi films. How big of a film fan are you?
I'm a pretty big film fan. I started really young. So I was under 10 watching Taxi Driver, watching all the Godfather films. My father loved film. It's so interesting because he was he was a complicated and troubled and beautiful person. He's no longer alive. But as I continue to get to know him after his death, as I go back and I think about who he was, I'm like, wow, that man was a film lover. And he made me into one as well, introducing me to great, great films at such an early age. And I definitely, I never went to film school. I can't necessarily talk the way that someone that did could, but I can tell you that like I feel film in a way that I think only a film lover could.
I did go to film school, and one of the big things is we talked to a lot of upcoming filmmakers and things like that, and that's a big question. A lot of inspiring filmmakers want to, I don't want to say aspiring, but like inspired filmmakers, because they are filmmakers, and I don't want to take that away from them in that way. But they'll say like, should I go to film school? Should this? For me, a lot of it is like, you're going to figure it out if you just go work on a set. I'm not going to take away from the experience, because I did learn a lot and I gained a lot of great contacts, but you are going to learn, and you're going to do that, and you're going to meet great people on set. So it's like, I think a lot of times it's about finding what works for you.
I totally agree. Yeah. I was actually on set the other day. It was my first time on set since the pandemic. And it was just a one day. I was an actor for one day on this feature. And the production manager, he was young, this is a little indie film. And he was saying that he was just finishing school. And did I think he should drop out? And I was like, well, no, if you're just finishing, he's like, but you didn't go. I was like, yeah, but it's, everyone has a different path. And it's like, it's whatever's going to be most supportive for you. I know for me, as I'm beginning to direct, I've directed a few shorts now, and I'm realizing that I would maybe at some point like to do, like, for example, AFI has a women's directors program, like something like that. It wouldn't be it's not a full education. It's like a summer program, something like that. I could see being really helpful when it comes to directing. With acting, I've been doing it for so long. But with directing, it might be nice to have a little extra support and information.
And I'm a big proponent for education, and especially like there's so many seminars, there's so many videos out there, so many things to learn. Soak it all in if you can. Read books, things like that. So like something like that's fantastic. And again, I did enjoy film school. I had great times doing it, and I learned a lot. And I have invaluable friendships that I still have to this day. But I can say the same from being on set, so like, even after that, like I've met so many more people, and I've learned I've had to relearn so many things just being on set, that they didn't teach you in school. And you're kind of like, okay, well, at least I got the basics.
It's true. Yeah.
Stepping into as you have done directing before, and I to ask you about that real quick, what for you is something that I know you love playing these characters, and not take away from that, but like, are you attracted to directing? Is that something that, you might want to pivot towards more so?
Well, I don't know if I could say pivot, but I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it, because the only thing I've ever enjoyed that much is acting. I do other things, I wrote a book about sex and meditation. I'm a meditation teacher. I'm a guide for couples and individuals. So I do a lot of other things in my life as well, and I'm passionate about it. But there's never been anything other than acting that I felt this certain way about. And when I started directing, I was like, oh wait, I feel this way. And so that was really surprising. So I don't know about pivoting, but definitely creating space for it. It is a lot of work though. It's a lot of work, and it goes on and on and on and on. The whole process is like, and look, I'm all for it, but there is something to be said for just showing up on set and doing your job, and then not necessarily having to like be at every single post session and all of that. But I love it at the same time. It's really, I like having more creative control too as an actor. When you're not also a producer, you kind of don't really have much control, and that I don't love. So directing is nice in that way.
Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to see more from you, especially directing and see, like kind of the path you take in terms of directing, because everybody kind of gets their own style as they go, and, to see what you develop, that would be amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Especially with the acting background. The acting background is going to be, I always think that's such a huge help with directors. I always tend to drive myself more towards like the Redfords or the, even Tarantino to a point.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I mean, I also I love being directed by people who are also actors, because there's some of the things you could hear from directors who don't know how to talk to an actor is just like, mind blowing. Like, wait, you really thought that would work? You really thought that telling me that to just act would work, or I've heard some things where it's like, wow, you don't understand how fragile an actor is.
Oh God, yeah.
But with someone who understands, it's really nice. And it's, and there's also in some way it's like, they get it, and it brings out another part of you, I think, as an actor when you're performing with a director who's also acting. So.
And I got to say, I mean, I loved your performance in The Tangle. I love The Tangle. I thought the movie was great. Like I said, it's right in my wheelhouse of movies I like Starfish and Blade Runner, things like that. Like just great sci-fi element stories that aren't driven solely by technology and things like that. Like it's characters that really drive the story. And you were fantastic in it. And it is available now for everybody to go check out on Amazon. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today, Jessica. This is fantastic. I had a great conversation with you. Anytime you have anything to promote, please feel free.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And it was really great to spend a little time with you today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. The pleasure was all mine. And is there anything that you want to promote before we go? Coming out?
Sure. Well, The Hunter is going to be on all the streaming places come April, and that's the episodic I mentioned. And then the short film that I directed most recently is called Into Light, and that's about the suffragist Inez Milholland, who died for the cause for women's right to vote. And that film is on Amazon Prime, so you can stream that now. I'm really proud of it. It's a kind of big production for a third time ever directing a short, and I think it went pretty well. So I'd love for people to watch it. Yeah,
absolutely. And I will make sure that all of that is in the descriptions and more, so everybody can go check out your work. And I'm very excited to check it out as well and see what you do in the future. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And everybody, thank you for watching today. Make sure you go check out The Tangle. For sure, make sure you go check out all of Jessica's work. Again, the links will be in the description. And go check out thescenesnobs.com and reach out with any feedback that you might have. So thanks again for watching, and take care. And that's our show, everybody. Thanks for listening. I am Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob. We always appreciate you guys tuning in and commenting along and everything else. Go check out this show or any of our other shows on thescenesnobs.com. Thescenesnobs.com. We love you. You guys are awesome. And if you would like, follow and subscribe to our social media. That really helps us go a long way. And please spread the word. Tell your friends. Have them come in. We love feedback and everything else. So everybody, you have a great day. Again, thanks for listening. Thescenesnobs.com. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo! Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.